Order here on Mackie and Judd, where we rank random and sometimes not so random things. And with the departure of Wes Johnson earlier this week, just up and leaving the Minnesota Twins for a pitching coach job in college for a lot of money, Judd has a pecking order for us on this Tuesday.
Yes. I'm calling it surprise departures. So, like, it might be guys who quit. It might be guys who were surprisingly fired. Wes, since it's in honor of Wes, he's not among them. But I came up with 10. And look, I might have missed one. I might have missed 5. I don't know. But I was racking my brain last night to come up with 10 in order from 10 to 1 departures that surprised us in sports here, okay?
I love it. Okay.
So like, this is not the definitive list, though. So if I am short 1, 2, 3, or 4, just tell me. All right. So surprise departures. Minnesota sports. I included the Twins. I included the Vikings. I included the Wild, the Wolves, and Gopher sports as well, namely Gopher football. All right. And that's where we'll start.
Okay.
Number 10. Retired October 2015, Jerry Kill. Now, he had health problems, but if you recall, the Gophers at that point, I believe, were 7 games in, 4-3, had just gotten beat pretty badly by Nebraska. In 2014, Kill had been the Big Ten Coach of the Year. And so his health problems didn't make it completely shocking, but it was still a surprising move. Jerry Kill's decision to step down, which I guess now in retrospect is more surprising because he's tried to come back like 8 times. Jerry Kill, his decision in October of 2015 is number 10 on my list.
Is this the year that we get the showdown?
Yes.
Is it
Week
New
1.
Mexico or New Mexico State?
State, right?
State?
Yes.
Week 1.
But this is the
The
year. This
Aggies?
is the Fleck Kill showdown.
Or the Lobos? Are they the Lobos or the 8? Which one's the Lobos? Patino's at one, Kills at the other, right?
You know what? You got me. I'm gonna speak here.
Aggies. State is the Aggies.
Aggie Vision.
And
There's
Kill is there, right? That's right.
Okay.
I think so.
Hold on. This
Go Gophers.
We're a bunch of professionals here.
Okay,
Dan.
here we go.
New Mexico
Yes.
State.
Yes.
Schedule.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You are correct. New Mexico State.
Really excited for that game. Yeah. You know that he's had that circled for, would you say 2015? 7 years.
God, yeah.
And he
he's
did
wanted it.
say
You're
that
right.
he would never step foot back on campus ever again. Didn't he say that?
Yeah.
Did he say that with
On
us?
SKOR North.
He said that with us.
I filled in on that show. That was a fun show.
Yeah, I believe
On Back in the
Doogie
Radio
booked him,
show.
and he said, I will never set foot on that campus again.
Is he going to coach remotely on September 1st then? Just to honor his word?
I hope he's just well.
Wow.
But yeah,
Wow.
but so he's come back and tried to be an OC a couple places. He's been a head coach a couple places since then. So his stepping down for health purposes, not a total shock, but I would say the timing of it was surprising. So
I'm actually kind of shocked you have 10 names on this. I haven't put a ton of thought into this. There's a couple that stand out, but
There's
I'm really
some
curious to
old
see
school.
where.
There's some old school ones. And much like with Wes, part of this is based on timing. So it's not like totally surprising that the person was gone. It's surprising when. Because like if Wes had slow cooked this thing, right, until October, season gets done. Twins went to the playoffs, got swept. And Wes said, you know what, peace out, guys. We'd say, oh, that's surprising. But we wouldn't be like, oh my God, he's leaving?
And
So-
don't you think we also would have said, oh, the Twins wanted him out, and so this is
Sure.
his soft landing? I wonder if any part of this is him just wanting to take control of his career narrative too. So, no, I'm the one that's leaving mid-season, just so it's clear, I am doing this. I'm not being fired.
To your point, I will say this. I am shocked there's not more public question about this. Like, there's a lot of folks who are just like, yeah, coaches quit. I mean, this happens. It's like, not now, they don't. I think Passan tweeted this is a first. There's never been a pitching coach who has quit to go to the college ranks in season.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's super weird. Super
It
weird.
is weird. All right, number 9 on my list predates both of you guys. It is former Twins manager Gene Mock, who was the manager of Twins from 76 until he stepped down in August of 1980 with the Twins at 54-71 in a season in which Johnny Gorel took over and actually had some success. The team finished 77-84. But Gene Mock, who was a legend, basically said, I think he just got sick of the whole thing. Post game, I believe it was a game I was at. It was they played the Tigers at the Met. Post game, he called a press conference, and instead of saying, "Here's what we didn't do right," he said, "I'm done." So he just bolted. He just said, "I'm sick of it. I'm sick of Calvin. I'm not doing a good job." Ultimately, went on to some success with the Angels, but Gene Mauch is number 9 on my list. Again, timing August of 1980.
Okay, did he ever manage again?
Yeah, Angels.
Okay.
Took him to playoffs. In fact, he was he against Boston in '86? Donnie Moore, who tragically committed suicide, was the closer, I believe, and I believe they were within a strike of Gene Mauch's only World Series. And Dave Henderson homered off Moore, and Gene, I mean, for all of Gene's greatness, never made it to a World Series. And in '64, the Phillies, still to this day, one of the great all-time meltdowns. They had a lead that looked insurmountable. So no, Mauch did come back. Mauch was great, but he never made it to a World Series.
Okay.
He's number 9 on my list. Number 8 actually sort of predates me, but it's a good one. Number 8, first managerial job, Billy Martin. So he was the Twins' third base coach, got the job in '69, led the Twins to, at that time, the first ever American League West title. 97 and 65, okay? So, like, this team was great. Martin did a great job. Unfortunately, he drank too much, antagonized Calvin, had some problems, and was fired in a move that was, I think, the first time, if we were ever to talk to Patrick about this, I think it was the first time the Twins fans turned on the Twins. They loved Billy. Billy was dynamic. Billy was great. Billy was a drunk. But Martin being fired after 1 year in which the Twins won the division, and I believe they were swept by Baltimore in the playoffs, is number 8 on my list.
See, that type of erratic behavior from a baseball manager is a thing of the past, right? Baseball managers have been, it really started with Moneyball in the early 2000s, and the movie kind of depicts that with Brad Pitt, where they just Art Howe, I think, was the manager, right?
Correct.
And now, like, there's some guys still, some like Tony La Russa is still hanging around for a couple more weeks. But there's just, they don't run the show anymore. It was for 100 years, the manager was pulling all the strings, and it was their show and their clubhouse. And then somewhere along the line, smart front office people realized, no, I mean, they definitely have an influence, but it's not as much of an influence as maybe we've thought for 100 years.
The coaching staff used to be drinking buddies. Like, the pitching coach is great. Well, why? Because we're at the bar every night. Like, that was the coaching staff, right?
That
Like,
was kind of the Twins. That was kind of the
collection
Twins
of
coaching
former-
staff for a
Yeah.
while. That was
Former
Guardian
players.
Yeah.
So, yes. Billy Martin, number 8 on my list.
Okay.
Number 7 was one that Phil and I were in Mankato for and did an entire show off of because it was so surprising at the time. Now, in retrospect, he deserved what he got, but it is Norwood Teague resigning in August of 2015
You are reaching so into the bag here. This is great.
as the Gophers AD. Now, in retrospect, sexual harassment, I believe a drinking problem there as well. But if you guys recall, we saw that on Twitter and we're like, what the hell is this? Norwood Teague, number 7.
Old Dex Tweets was, I believe, driving up for maybe like the first week of classes listening to that show for senior year. And I remember being in shock, too, driving up Highway 10, hearing that news, and was just perplexed as to what the hell was going on with Norwood Teague. And as Judd alluded to, then we figured out he was, a horrible human being.
Yes.
But I remember that well. God.
Okay, so I sometime recently I looked this up, but I think he runs a consulting agency.
Has anyone ever talked to him since then? I've never seen anything with him.
Okay, so he does have a LinkedIn page. I've stumbled into this before.
I love this.
So he runs a company, or maybe, I don't know if he runs it. He works for a company called Sockwell Partners. Oh my God. And you know what? This is awkward.
What's up?
He has LinkedIn Premium, which means that he can see anyone who goes to his profile. So
Well,
he's
right now,
he's
he
gonna
knows.
see that I am on his. I mean, there's no turning back now. I might as well stay here.
Try and book him.
So
Say, hey,
No.
After all this
No.
time.
why?
Absolutely
What?
not.
No
Book-
one wants to
See
hear
if he
from
turned
him.
his life around.
No. Not giving him the platform for that.
Okay, he is the director
Norwood.
of Sockwell Partners since April 2019 in Charlotte, North Carolina.
All right.
It's an executive search firm with a focus on senior level positions. Our clients
Huh.
range from Fortune 500 companies to emerging companies, family-owned businesses, nonprofits. He leaned on a couple search firms, didn't he? Didn't he have that Villa? What was that Villa 7 thing? That
Villa
wasn't a
7
search
for
firm. That,
his basketball coach.
it was just
In fact,
like
I think he was part of it, right?
Okay.
Oh my God.
He and Mike, what's his face, his assistant.
yeah, that guy.
What the hell was his name? Mike something, Phil. You knew him.
Oh.
Like something.
I don't remember. I mean, we used to text each other, and then that shut
Right.
down pretty quickly after this whole thing happened.
He was going to deliver Shaka Smart. That's all I know. And
Yeah.
instead he delivered Richie Pitino as
All
a
right, well-
seventh choice.
Well, Norwood knows I just creeped on him, so let's get to number 6 here on Judd's
All
list.
right. 5 and 6 are going to basically be the same time period. In some ways, the same guy, little different problems. But number 6 is Paul Fenton. So Paul Fenton, hired in May of 2018 to replace Chuck Fletcher as GM from an organization in the wild that seems to love or loved stability, right? Well, he lasted from May of 2018 until July of 2019. I don't think it was a realization that he couldn't do the job from a personnel standpoint. I think it was a realization that, again, in a different way, obviously, clearly than Teague, he was just a bad guy. He couldn't work with people. He couldn't really run things. I think it's safe to say that he was despised by lots of folks. So number 6 on the list, 1 year or 1 season and done, Paul Fenton,
Yeah.
Wild GM.
Yeah.
God. Horrible guy. Terrible guy.
Just
Not a
had
good
no
dude.
people skills. He was
Yeah.
very weird. He was
Yeah.
very, very confrontational unnecessarily.
And now Billy Guerin has all of the people skills.
Oh God.
He's
Yeah.
like the most people skilled person that you're gonna find. It's great.
And it's not like he is like the nicest guy. Like he's a tough dude, but he just sort of
Yeah.
gets it. Where Fenton
Yeah.
was just sort of unnecessarily arrogant.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
well, hold on.
Sorry.
Paul Fenton has much more time to ride around on his motorcycle during the summer months. Now that we're halfway through Judd's list here, let's shout out a couple of our partners. Dennis Kirk is all about riding season. Over 160,000 parts and accessories in stock for those of you who like to partake. Free shipping on orders over $89 and same-day shipping on orders placed before 8 p.m. Ride more, wait less at DennisKirk.com. Also, let's say hi to our friends at Aquaside here, Declan, during these summer lake months. Aquaside's a good place to know.
Oh, it's the 4th of July weekend we got coming up. It's on a Monday, but that's okay. And we're going to be out on the lake, enjoying maybe a couple beverages, enjoying some surlies. And when you put your foot in the water, you don't want to feel that lake algae, right? It's the worst feeling in the world when you step into that pond or you step into the lake and you just feel that gross algae at the bottom of your feet. And Aquaside will help you remove that product with their Aquaside pellets. They are easy to use. It's a simple fan over treatment area. They begin working right away. They walk you through how to use it. These are safe products too, registered both with the EPA and DNR. And the best part, shipping is free. You can also stop into their store location in the Twin Cities in White Bear Lake, but their shipping is free. Aquaside pellets. To learn more, go to aquaside.com, aquaside.com to learn more.
All right, back to Judd's pecking order here. 10 surprise exits.
yes. Last 5 on the list. Number 5 is Gersson Rosas. Gersson, again, so he and Fenton are basically, to me, bookends here. Same timing. Now, Gersson did come in as the anti-Tibbs with his kids bouncing on his lap. It's going to be a family. We didn't realize what type of family he was going to eventually try to cultivate. That probably
Tom
was
Thibodeau
not
had
the
a
right
Manny's
idea.
menu on his lap when he was giving his press
But you
conference.
know what? At least we knew. But at least we knew Tibbs. With Gersson, we really were sold a bill of goods. But Gersson was hired 1 year after Fenton, so May of 2018. Gersson, May of 2019, and he was fired in September of 21. Workplace conduct not the best. Again, a tyrant, too. So, like Fenton, couldn't work with people. So, Gersson Rosas, now employed with Tibbs, ironically enough, by the Knickerbockers, is number 5 on the list.
Amazing combination over there.
Yeah. Fun fact, I was almost late to my first date with my now beloved girlfriend because of that firing. In fact, I was 10 minutes late because if you remember, he got fired at like 3:30 on like a Wednesday or something or a Tuesday.
All right.
And we had to do an emergency pod. I think we even almost went on like live on the radio because it was like kind of conflicting. And then I was 15 minutes late trying to find parking to get to this first date in time because of Gersson Rosas' untimely firing, which is now what I'll all remember it.
Because that's a good, interesting sort of first date discussion of like what you do for a living. Sorry, I was in my car posting a quote graphic on Instagram.
Pretty much, right?
Nice to meet you.
And I'm in a tour. I hate being late. It's like a thing. I am. If you tell me to be there at 9, I am there at 8:45. Like you gotta go to the airport. If your flight leaves at 5:30, I am there at 2. Like I have to be early. I have a petrified fear of being late. So when I walked in, yes, I had to explain to her, hey, I'm sorry, I'm late. The Timberwolves fired their Pobo. He was this bad individual, I guess. It took all of us by storm. So I had to like stand there for 10 minutes in the first 10 minutes of our date explaining this tyrant that was inexplicably fired.
Is that the same date on which you complained about the Twins for like the entire date too?
That is also on the same date, yes.
What a complete saint she must be.
She is.
Like you were late because of the Timberwolves and then you complained about the Twins?
And then the second date, I called George Springer a trash can banger in front of her. She is a saint. This was all a bang, bang, bang situation.
That or your hair. She loves the hair.
Why is George Springer a trash can banger, but you give a standing ovation to Carlos Correa every single time you watch?
He came to my team.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's fine.
I bought season tickets because of you, despite the fact that you cheer. But
Springer, you clown! You trash can banger clown! Coming up next, Carlos Correa. Amazing. Where are we at here? Number 4. Number 4.
So, 6 Fenton, 5 Rosas. Now let's jump in the way back machine before, again, both of your time. But this one actually was shocking. It was shocking because this guy was so good. And this guy, I believe now, is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame and was a key executive for the Cubs on the team that won the National League East in '84 to end a streak of non-playoff appearances by the Cubs that dated back at that time to 1945. I'm talking about the Vikings GM from 1964 to May of '74, one Jim Finks.
Okay.
So Jim Finks had been the NFL Executive of the Year in '73. The Vikings had just been to the Super Bowl and lost to the Dolphins. Jim Finks had been, instrumental in Bud Grant being here, all of those things. And I believe he wanted an ownership stake or equity or something, and the Vikings said no. He had a falling out, and Jim Finks up and quit and went to the Bears. But Jim Finks was an executive's executive. He was really good, and he walked away upset at the Vikings in May of '74. That is way back, but that is number 4 on the list.
That is way back. Jim Finks was the 116th pick in the 1949 NFL draft out of Tulsa, by the way.
Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yes, he played 5 or 6 years with the Steelers and then played for the Calgary Stampeders, was the Notre Dame coach in 1956, and then became the Vikings general manager 8 years later. So there's a little history lesson.
There you go.
He's got one of those on his Wikipedia page. You know how all of the old football photos and really all of the old sports card photos across all sports were just these weird posed. It's him sideways with the ball up here, gazing off into the distance.
Those photos were great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, just pose like you would during a game.
Act natural. But nobody could act natural in photos. This is a Norm Macdonald skit too. Like how weird people were in photos because you didn't have a lot of practice.
God, I love Norm. R.I.P.
I mean, if you were born in 1927, like Jim Finks was, how often were people really taking photos of you? You know?
Yeah. Well,
can't blame the guy.
Just
for
act like
weird.
you're gonna throw. Hold the ball right there.
See?
Hold the ball right there.
Just like this. Just like this.
I got the football. I got the old pigskin. I'm gonna throw it over the middle. All right.
All right. We've emerged
Number
into
4,
the top
Jim
3
Finks.
here, pecking order.
Number 3. Number 3 might be considered to be low until you hear the top two, because number 3 is, drum roll please, Norv Turner. Now, Norv, we can debate Norv's departure as OC. There are some folks like Patrick who think that he was fired by Zimmer and that it was kept on the QT. There are probably people more so in the know who say, no, he just walked out because he was being questioned and he was sick of it. And I think Zimmer hired him when Mike got the job, saying, I'm coaching defense and you are basically head coach offense. And by the time that Norv quit after a loss in early November of 2016 to the Bears, I think Mike was like, let's run this play. No, let's run the ball more. And Norv said, I'm done here. Norv Turner and his abrupt departure, number 3 on the list as Vikings OC.
It's no one's ever fully told the story, but there was
so many rumors about it to this day, right?
It wasn't Norv walking in amicably saying, I think I'm just tired. I think I'll go home. And Mike saying, okay, Norv, pleasure working with you, sir.
Yeah.
Let's go drink some red wine together later tonight.
2016 was the first time that there was an inkling that Zim's ways, I think, could really prove to be bristly for some.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Norv Turner, number 3.
All right, top 2 here.
All right, number 2 on my list. This was the guy who was turning Gopher football around. This was the guy who was going to get Gopher football in the mid-'80s on the right track. This is the guy who walked away to become the head coach of Phil Mackey's favorite school.
Well, second favorite, but yeah.
Well, okay. One of your favorite football programs. How about that? Lou Holtz. So, the Gophers, I believe had won 1 game in 83. They won 4 the next year with Holtz in his first year, but they won 3 in the Big Ten. So good things were coming. They won 6 in 85 and went to a bowl game, and that's when Lou said, the Irish job? Oh yeah, I'll take that. Lou Holtz, I don't think he is to this day, from longtime Gopher fans, been forgiven. I think that there was a perception that Holtz was going to lead the program to great things. Of course, it didn't transpire. So Lou Holtz, surprising, angering, frustrating, pick your word. He is number 2 on the list of departures.
Yeah, just the fact that we get so nervous anytime a coach or a player might, oh my God, what if they leave us like Lou Holtz? I think that's where it comes from. It comes from, before I was born, basically, before Declan was born.
I think you're right.
Oh my God, we got Tubby Smith. When's he going to leave? It doesn't matter. He's old and senile now. You're going to want him to leave in like 3 years.
Richard Pitino might leave.
Yes,
okay, we're about to fire him.
What if he goes to Tennessee? Great. Sounds good.
You knock yourself out. You knock yourself out. All right. And number 1 on the surprise departure list as far as executives, coaches, managers go in Minnesota sports is none other than the first time he left, Bud Grant. Bud Grant shocked us. Bud Grant stepped down after in 83, and no one saw it coming. The succession plan, I think, in Grant's mind was, my friend Jerry Burns is going to get the job, and I'm done, and it's been great, and fans were absolutely shocked. And then the Vikings got creative and said, oh, no, we think we should hire this young assistant coach we've got named Les Steckel. 3-13. Long story short, I believe Bud was begged to come back to right things. Actually took the Vikings in 85 from 3-13 the previous year to 7-9. 86, Jerry Burns does take the job. But the Bud Grant decision after the 84 season to step down, I think, is the top one.
All right. There it is. Bud Grant, Lou Holtz, Norv Turner, Jim Finks, some names on here, man.
Yes.
Gersson Rosas, Paul Fenton, Norwood Teague, Billy Martin, Gene Mock, Jerry Kill, all just up and leaving or
in honor of
forced out in some way.
Good old Wes Johnson.
Wes Johnson.
Thank you, Wes. You gave us
no
a list.
cheating, but I just did a comb through for old tweets exposed involving Norv Turner. We got some good candidates for Thursday already.
Oh, good.
Oh, love it.
No cheating.
No,
I love it.
No cheating. No cheating. I loved
Amazing.
that hire at the time, by the way.
Yes,
I,
you did.
Yeah, it was.
I
yeah, it was
loved.
fun.
We did a show on how Zim was being smart and getting an offensive guy, and he knew his strengths.
It was a smart hire.
I
It
know,
was a smart
but
hire,
I'm
and then
saying-
he brought in a bunch of former head coaches to sort of pad his staff, and then later on he got power hungry and wound up hiring sons of former head coaches.
He went
or current
and
head coaches.
consulted Hugh Jackson. That's where I think Norv probably said this ain't gonna work, right? Like of all
Wait,
the
that guy
people,
has 3 wins in 6 seasons or whatever. Yeah, let's
of all the
maybe
people
consult him.
that you could say this is my guy, this guy's gonna tell me what Norv is doing wrong. It's Hugh Jackson.
Yeah. There it is. There's your Tuesday pecking order, presented in part by our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company. If you're a business owner out there, just check out all the different services they can provide you on the risk management front, and find a full list of industries Federated protects at federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. All right, boys, we have Write That Down predictions and an accountability session tomorrow. Reckless Speculation Thursday, the NBA league year. So this is going to be an interesting several days here. We'll see you guys tomorrow on Mackie and Judd.